Sheev's Empire is officially back. I know I've been inactive. There's just a lot going on, and I didn't really have the motivation to do it for a while. But I'm doing it with my friend now, which should make things a lot more fun. So it should be. We should have more consistent videos out. Hopefully, like every 1 to 2 weeks. I mean, if things go well. But this video today, my friend XR, he chose the comic. He pretty much did everything for this video. So, yeah, this was all him, and I'll kind of let him get into it. But you know, we'll do some more gaming videos. We'll do facts videos. We'll do maybe some reviews. I don't know. We'll just make it an all-around Star Wars channel. And I mean, if you guys have any ideas, just make sure to DM us on our Instagram. We'll leave that in the description. Just like and subscribe, and I'll let XR get into it.
Hello there, YouTube, and welcome once again to Sheev's Empire. Today you'll be hearing my narration of Vader's Untold Stories, Episode 2. I recently joined the channel and I'm so excited to start putting out new content for you guys and girls out there who enjoy Star Wars as much as I do. Also, a big thanks to those of you who have been supporting both of our Instagram accounts, and especially my new Valen Order account. It's an honor to be welcomed to the channel so enthusiastically. Anyways, let's begin, shall we? With the creation of the new Galactic Empire, Vader had been tasked with the responsibility of leading the Imperial Inquisition, also known as the Inquisitors, who were all former Jedi who had turned to the dark side. The objective of this was to hunt down all the survivors of Order 66 and destroy them. One such survivor was Jocasta Nu, the former lead archivist of the Jedi Order. She had finished building a school for training a new generation of Jedi. However, she needed to find Force-sensitive children to occupy it. We find Jocasta at the old ruins of the Jedi Temple, searching for a secret data file listing all known Force-sensitive children in the galaxy. She finds the data file hidden in a secret supply of ancient Force-related weapons, but before she can safely make it out of the temple, Vader himself appears before her.
"Lay down your weapon, Jedi,"
sounded his deep and superior voice.
"I do not want you to die."
Jocasta looked at Vader with hatred in her old eyes. "The dark side flows off you in waves. You say you don't want me dead." Aiming quickly with her intricate lightsaber-powered blaster, a crackling blue beam of light shot across the room as Jocasta pulled the trigger. "Forgive my skepticism." Vader threw himself to the side just in time to dodge the raging laser as it crashed into the temple walls. Jocasta continued to fire as she spoke to the Dark Lord. "I know who you are. The Vault Guardian identified you. Anakin Skywalker. I see it all now. The things unsaid in Master Obi-Wan's final message to the survivors of the Emperor's Purge. Palpatine was the Sith Lord we could not find. You, our great hope for the Force, were his target. He took you, made you his, twisted you into this new form, submerged in the dark side." A beaming shot tore Vader's cape to shreds as he dodged just barely. The two leaped and dashed around the dimly lit room. Jocasta Nu fired, Vader deflected and evaded. The old archivist continued to speak, confidence leading her voice as she called Vader a pawn of the Emperor, a tool even, no better than a droid set to stamp out the light side. She aimed her weapon directly at Vader and pulled the trigger back. The weapon had no response. It had began sounding an alarm as thick clouds of smoke bellowed out of the gun. The lightsaber inside then sprang out into Jocasta's hand as worry set into her wrinkled face. The saber smoked and dripped like a candlestick, its power and life drained. Vader remained composed as he retracted his crimson lightsaber blade.
"It is over, Master Nu, and as I promised, you will not be harmed."
Jocasta's weapon continued to smoke, and the high-pitched alarm quickened its pace. She then focused on calling the Force to herself, and with her hands centered at her head, the now red-hot ancient rifle flew towards Vader, propelled by the Force. Vader hastily reached out with the Force, pushing back on the weapon as it burned up. An explosion rattled through the air, blowing both Vader and Nu back, and crushing through the temple wall. While the smoke from the explosion cleared slowly, Jocasta recovered quickly and dashed towards the hole opening to Coruscant's dark night sky. Ignoring Vader's demand for her to stop, she reached out with the Force and pulled an ancient lightsaber to her from its designated shelf. The old and wise archivist gazed outside to see arrays of red-armored clones, signifying their deployment on Coruscant.
Wonderful,
she said, as she ignited the deep emerald-green saber in her clutched hand. The clones all looked up at Jocasta.
That's a Jedi, all right. All troops, open fire!
She then leapt down as she deflected hundreds of blaster shots and landed with a thud.
Hello, gentlemen. Take her down!
As the flurries of red lasers rained down on Jocasta, even more reinforcements continued to arrive. She fought on and on until the clones turned their fire towards another. Lord Vader found himself under the attack of his own army as he stood baffled and outraged. Jocasta smirked as she watched the clones fire on who they believed to be another Jedi. Meanwhile, Imperial patrol gunships flew overhead, scouting out the battle below.
What is happening down there? Looks like the Lady Jedi's just about done. That's good, at least. Now, about the other.
Oh no.
Get us over there, now.
Roger that, sir.
From the gunship, a loudspeaker sounded.
All units, cease fire on target on the temple wall. He's one of ours. Repeat, cease fire on target in the temple.
The ship drew closer to Vader, and he leapt inside.
Commander, why did you not provide your troops with my description?
I didn't expect anything like this to happen, sir. I just didn't think...
Before the clone could finish, he felt a strangling grip at his throat as Vader force-choked him into submission. Fatigue started to set in as Jocasta continuously fought hard against the clones. She claimed all of them to be traitors. However, the clones viewed the Jedi as traitors due to their inhibitor chips planted inside their head. Jocasta was exhausted, having constantly been deflecting blaster shots and using the Force. A shot tore straight through her hand, and her lightsaber fell clean off the edge of the structure. Clasping her bleeding hand, Jocasta watched as the clones closed in for her capture. She was well aware of what Vader would gain from her once captured. The secret file of Force-sensitive children had to be safe at all costs. Closing her eyes, she knew what had to be done. She could feel the Force moving through her body. She took a step back towards the edge and said,
I am one with the Force. The Force is with me.
She leaned back into the empty air behind. He fell, satisfied, knowing at least she had protected the Force-sensitive children across the galaxy. Suddenly, she felt as if the sensation of falling had ceased. She opened her eyes to find that she was no longer falling. Darth Vader held onto Jocasta using the Force. Lifting her into the ship, his booming voice spoke.
Bring her aboard.
After some time, a clone approached Vader.
We searched the Jedi, Lord Vader. She wasn't carrying much. Just this, a memory crystal.
Vader peered at the chip through his blazing red vision and proceeded to snap it into his belt, revealing a long list of names. He questioned Jocasta.
This list, names, locations, and birth dates, recent birth dates. These are children, targets of the Jedi Order, Force sensitives. What were you going to do? Recruit them yourself?
After a moment, Jocasta responded.
Palpatine ordered you to keep me alive. That's clear. And you don't even know why, you poor deluded boy. I suspect it was that list. As Chancellor, he knew we kept it, and knew the Seekers would have entrusted it to me. He wanted it, and the reason is clear. He wants to make more of you, which begs the question, what do you want, boy?
Do you want me to stun her, sir? I'd be more than happy to stop those Jedi lies.
Jedi? You idiot. You don't even know who you're supposed to hate. You're taking orders from a Jedi. This man is Anakin Skywalker, a Jedi Knight.
Vader clenched his fist at the mention of his old name. Turning to face the clones, He thrust his arm forward in anger and shattered his clones through the gunship window. He turned back towards Nu.
That was your doing.
They chose their own paths.
Responded Jocasta.
And me? What becomes of me? So be it.
The gunship plummeted to the ground. Vader jumped to safety just before the ship became a flaming heap of rubble. Contacting Emperor Palpatine, he spoke.
Master, I have a report. Jocasta Nu tried to escape our custody. She was careless. She perished in the attempt.
The gravelly voice of Sidious answered.
I see. Regrettable. Return to me, my apprentice. I would hear the story of the witch's end. But first, tell me, did you learn anything from Jocasta before her death? No, Master.
Vader's hand closed around the memory crystal, crushing it to pieces.
Nothing.
Alright, what's up guys? Just an outro for this video. We just wanted to talk about a few points that were in the comic that we didn't really go over in too much depth. So, the first one, XR.
Yeah, overall, I thought this was a really interesting comic, and the moment I took it out from my room, I just thought that it would be a good idea to kind of bring to life for you guys, because it's such an interesting piece of Vader's past that we don't get to see in movies.
Exactly.
So, first of all, going back to Darth Vader, he has a new saber, I noticed. It's not the one that we find him with in the movies, but it's a more sleek and old design, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's interesting to think about because obviously Vader doesn't just automatically get one once he becomes Darth Vader. He still wields well, he didn't wield his Anakin lightsaber anymore. That represented, his past. And once he was rebirthed, he was given a new lightsaber by Sidious just to use for the time being. But it took a while for him to really find his own. I own a comic where it just talks about him getting his Kyber crystal, and that's super interesting. He killed a Jedi to get it. So this wasn't just, he wasn't just handed his lightsaber when he became Vader. He had to design it, and which you can tell it's kind of the same design as his old one. And it's just really interesting to look at that.
Yeah. In fact, I also have a comic where one of his lightsabers breaks and is destroyed. So he just went through different lightsabers, cycling through them until he got the one that he really wanted.
Exactly.
And of course, secondly, I thought that it was pretty laughable that the clones would just fire on Vader because they didn't have a description of him or anything. They just thought that when he was peering out of the temple, he was just another Jedi.
Jocasta Nu, her lightsaber gun, basically, that we see in this comic, I guess I don't know completely how it works, but does it just use a lightsaber per every shot? That just seems insane.
I think that once the Kyber crystal runs out, then the lightsaber ejects and it's just done.
Yeah.
At least that was my take on it.
Yeah.
But one more thing, I thought it was super cool to see Jocasta say, "I am one with the Force is with me," which we recognize from Rogue One.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how that sort of line passed over to him. So thank you for all your support, especially as we're coming back to this channel. It's important to have fans that stay loyal, even though we may take breaks from time to time. But we're going to start getting out more content more frequently. And may the Force be with you all, and so long.